The massive Zethran vessel emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Kuiper belt, its crystalline hull refracting the distant sunlight into rainbow patterns across space. On the bridge, High Ambassador Vex Thor observed the blue-green planet ahead with all four of his silver eyes. His iridescent scales shifted color with anticipation. This would be the Zethran Alliance's first contact with the species known as humans. Initial scans complete, Ambassador, reported his science officer, Nyx. Her tentacles danced across the holographic interface. Detecting significant technological advancement since our last long-range survey. They've established colonies on their moon and neighboring planet. Vex Thor's scales rippled with surprise. The reports had classified Earth as a developing civilization, barely capable of reaching their own satellite. Yet before them lay evidence of a much more advanced society. Proceed with standard greeting protocols, he ordered. Broadcast on all frequencies. The response came faster than anyone expected. Dozens of previously hidden defense platforms emerged from behind asteroids and orbital positions. A fleet of sleek warships materialized from what appeared to be empty space, their stealth systems dropping just long enough to take up strategic positions around the system. Ambassador. Nyx's tentacles writhed with alarm. Multiple weapons locks detected. Their technology, it's unlike anything in our database. I'm detecting elements of at least 3 different alien technological bases, seamlessly integrated with their own innovations. In his command center deep within Cheyenne Mountain, Commander Jackson Reed watched the alien vessel with grim determination. He'd trained for this moment his entire career, though he'd hoped it would never come. Status report, he barked to his staff. All defense grids active, sir, Lieutenant Rose Patel reported, her fingers flying across her console. Solar line platforms showing green across the board. Fleet is in position and awaiting orders. Reed nodded, studying the holographic display showing the alien ship's position. It was beautiful, he had to admit. But humanity had learned long ago that beauty was no guarantee of peaceful intentions. Send the standard warning, he ordered. Let's see how they respond. The message that appeared on the Zethran ship's communications display was brief and direct: maintain current position. Any advance will be considered hostile action. Vex Thor's scales shifted to a troubled gray. This wasn't the wide-eyed wonder and excitement they typically encountered from first contact species. These humans moved with the coordinated precision of a civilization that had faced threats from the stars before. Ambassador, his tactical officer called out, I'm detecting weapon systems we've never seen before. Some appear to be adaptations of Drukiri technology, but others. He trailed off, mandibles clicking nervously. Impossible, Vex Thor whispered. The Drukiri vanished from this sector 10,000 years ago. The implications sent a chill through his scales. Either humans had salvaged and reversed engineered technology from ancient battlefields, or they had fought the Drukiri themselves, and survived. On Earth, Commander Reed received a priority alert from the Archaeological Division. Dr. Priya Sharma's face appeared on his screen, her dark eyes intense with urgency. Commander, the energy signature from their ship, it matches patterns we've seen before. In the ancient records. Reed's jaw tightened. The ancient records were humanity's most closely guarded secret, a documentation of every attempted invasion, every first contact that had turned hostile, every piece of technology they'd salvaged and learned from over millennia of defending their home. Which ones, he asked, though he suspected he knew the answer. The Zethran energy patterns show similarities to the sixth wave, she replied, referring to one of humanity's earliest documented encounters. They were allies of the Drukiri during the First War. Reed closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. Humanity had fought too hard, for too long, to take any chances. When he opened them again, his decision was made. All units maintain defensive positions, he ordered. If they so much as twitch in our direction, you're authorized to fire. Aboard the Zethran vessel, Vex Thor made one final attempt at peaceful contact. He broadcast images of shared prosperity, of different species working together in harmony across the galaxy. The response was another text message, even briefer than the first. Your attempts at communication are noted. Maintain distance or withdraw. There will be no further warnings. As his crew looked to him for guidance, Vexthor realized they had stumbled into something far more complex than a simple first contact mission. These humans weren't afraid of them, they were prepared for them. And whatever had happened in their past had taught them to greet visitors from the stars not with wonder, but with weapons ready. Plot a course out of the system, he ordered quietly. We need to report this to the Alliance Council. Something tells me we've only scratched the surface of Earth's true history. As the crystalline ship disappeared into hyperspace, Commander Reed allowed himself to relax slightly. Another potential threat averted. Another day of keeping humanity safe from whatever the galaxy might throw at them. Log it, he told Lieutenant Patel. And add it to the records. The rest of the galaxy might not know our history, but we'll never forget it. The ancient records gained another entry that day, though this one was different from the others. For the first time in recorded history, an alien species had retreated without a single shot being fired. Perhaps, somewhere in the vast darkness of space, they were finally learning, Earth was not an easy target. It never had been. Deep within the secure archives beneath the Himalayas, Dr. Priya Sharma moved through rows of ancient artifacts, each telling a silent story of humanity's long struggle among the stars. The facility's quantum-shielded walls contained humanity's greatest secrets, pieces of technology and historical records that would shatter the outside world's understanding of human history. Her hands traced the edge of a twisted piece of metal, its surface still bearing the scorch marks from a battle fought 15,000 years ago. The artifact's composition matched nothing found on Earth, yet its design showed clear signs of human modification and improvement. Running another analysis, Doctor. The quiet voice belonged to her colleague, Dr. Thomas Blackwood, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue light of the preservation field. The Zethran ship's energy signature bothers me, Priya replied, pulling up holographic data streams. It's too similar to what we found in the Gobi Desert site. The one dated to the First War. The First War, humanity's earliest documented encounter with hostile aliens. The conventional history taught in schools spoke of humanity's gradual advancement into space. The truth, hidden in these vaults, told a different story. Look at this, Priya pointed to a comparison scan. The crystalline structure of their hull matches fragments we've recovered from at least 3 different ancient crash sites. They're using the same base technology as some of our earliest adversaries. Thomas leaned closer, his cybernetic eye whirring as it processed the data. Like many in their field, his augmentations were reversed engineered from salvaged alien tech, adapted to enhance human capabilities. Could they be descendants, he wondered aloud. Or perhaps they acquired the technology the same way we did. Before Priya could respond, her neural link chimed with an urgent message from Director Raven Walsh, head of the Historical Defense Initiative. Dr. Sharma, we need you in the Omega Chamber. Now. The Omega Chamber was the heart of the archive, containing humanity's most crucial historical records. Its existence was known only to a handful of people worldwide. As Priya entered, she found Director Walsh standing before a massive holographic display, her silver hair gleaming in the ethereal light. The Zethran incident triggered something in our deep space monitoring network, Walsh explained without preamble. We're picking up communications, lots of them. They're talking about us. The display showed streams of intercepted alien transmissions, automatically translated by AI systems built from centuries of studying alien languages. The Zethran Alliance, it seemed, was just as puzzled by humanity as humanity was suspicious of them. They don't understand, Walsh continued, her voice tight with concern. They're asking all the wrong questions. Why aren't we excited to meet them? Why are we so advanced? Why do we have technology that shouldn't exist at our development stage? Priya studied the translations, her mind racing. They don't know about the others. about any of it. No, Walsh agreed. And that might be our biggest problem. Because they're going to keep asking questions. And sooner or later, they're going to start finding answers. Moving to another console, Priya pulled up the ancient records, the true history of human-alien contact. The first war, 15,000 years ago, when humanity was barely out of the Stone Age. The arrival of the Drukiri, whose attempted invasion had gifted humanity with its first pieces of advanced technology. The second wave, the third, each time humanity surviving, learning, adapting. Director, Priya said slowly, maybe it's time we considered a different approach. The secrecy protocol was established when we were vulnerable, when revealing our history might have invited more attacks. But now we're one of the most technologically advanced civilizations in this sector of space, Thomas finished. Even if we didn't start that way. Walsh was silent for a long moment, studying the endless stream of alien communications. The Zethrans are different from our previous encounters, she admitted. They actually withdrew when warned. No species has ever done that before. Because they're not invaders, Priya pressed. Their confusion is genuine. They don't understand why a supposedly young civilization is acting like hardened veterans. A new alert flashed across the displays, more alien ships had been detected at the edges of their long-range sensors. Not Zethran vessels this time, but others, drawn by the reports of Earth's unusual behavior. They're coming to see for themselves, Walsh murmured. Curiosity rather than conquest, for once. Priya moved to the central archive terminal, her fingers dancing across the quantum crystal interface. Look at this, patterns in their communication. They're sharing theories, trying to understand us. Some of them are actually close to the truth. The weight of history hung in the air of the Omega Chamber. For millennia, humanity had kept its true past hidden, protecting itself through secrecy and strength. But as Priya studied the incoming data, she wondered if they were approaching a turning point. Director, she said carefully, I'd like to propose something radical. Instead of hiding our history, what if we used it? Not as a weapon, but as a bridge. Walsh raised an eyebrow. Explain. The Zethrans, these other species, they're confused because they can't understand our perspective. But if we showed them, if we helped them see why we are the way we are. Priya paused, gathering her thoughts. Maybe understanding our past is the key to changing our future. The director's response was cut off by another alert. More alien vessels appearing at the edges of their space, more questions being asked across the galactic communications networks. The secret of Earth's true history was unraveling, whether they wanted it to or not. In the depths of the Himalayan archive, surrounded by the artifacts of countless ancient encounters, humanity's guardians of history faced a choice. Continue the path of isolation and suspicion that had kept them safe for millennia, or take a risk and share their story with the galaxy. The next few days would determine whether humanity's long isolation would finally end, and whether the galaxy was ready for the truth about Earth's hidden history. Fleet Admiral Helena Reyes stood at the command center of the Titan base on Europa, watching as more alien vessels appeared at the edges of their sensor range. In the 3 weeks since the Zethran encounter, the situation had grown increasingly complex. What started as curious observers had evolved into a potential powder keg. Admiral, her tactical officer, Lieutenant Marcus Wong, called out. 3 more ships just dropped out of FTL. Non-Zethran signatures. Appears to be Arcturian design. The massive holographic display showed the positions of 27 alien vessels from 6 different species, all maintaining position just outside the solar line, humanity's primary defense perimeter. They claimed to be observers, researchers, diplomats. But Helena hadn't survived 3 decades in Earth's defense force by taking alien claims at face value. Status of the fleet, she asked, her weathered face reflected in the crystalline display panels. All ships at ready status, Marcus replied. The Thermopylae battle group is in position behind Titan. Leonidas Squadron is running silent in the Kuiper Belt. The rest of the fleet is distributed according to the Sentinel protocol. Helena nodded, studying the tactical overlay. The human ships were practically invisible, their stealth systems, reverse-engineered from multiple alien technologies and enhanced by human innovation, keeping them hidden until needed. The aliens could see only what Earth wanted them to see. A priority communication came through her neural link. "Admiral, this is Dr. Sharma from the archives. We've decoded more of their transmissions. They're sharing historical records." Helena's expression tightened. "What kind of records?" "Stories, reports, legends, about Earth. About previous encounters. Most of it is fragmented, but they're starting to piece things together. The Arcturians have records of the Drakiri discussing a devastating defeat in this sector. The Proxians have ancient warnings about approaching the blue world marked in their stellar charts. How much do they know? Not everything. Not yet. But they're connecting the dots. Some of these species have been around for millennia. They've had their own encounters with our previous visitors." Helena was about to respond when alarms blared across the command center. "Multiple FTL signatures," Marcus shouted. "Massive energy spike." The space beyond Neptune lit up as a new group of ships arrived, larger, more aggressive in design. Their hulls bore the distinctive pattern of the Corthan Collective, a species known for their militant expansion. "Corthan transmission incoming," the communications officer announced. A harsh voice filled the command center. "This is Warmaster Nexus of the Corthan Collective. We know what you are, humans. We know what you've done. The time for hiding is over." Helena's hand tightened on the command rail. The Corthans were notorious for their direct approach, and their tendency to shoot first and never bother with questions. "All ships, battle stations," she ordered calmly. "Activate the Aegis grid. Begin emergency civilian evacuation protocols for the outer colonies." The Aegis grid hummed to life, a network of defensive platforms and energy barriers that could lock down the entire solar system. It was humanity's ultimate defense, built from technologies gathered across millennia of conflict. "War Master," Helena responded, her voice steady. "You are approaching a secured system. Your presence here is neither required nor welcome. You cannot hide your true nature forever," the Corthan leader growled. "We've seen the evidence. The technology you possess, it comes from civilizations you've destroyed. You're not victims. You're predators." A bitter laugh escaped Helena's lips. How typically alien, to assume the worst without understanding. "You have no idea what you're talking about, War Master. But if you cross the solar line, you'll learn firsthand why Earth is still standing after all these millennia." "Admiral," Marcus interrupted urgently. "The other alien vessels, they're taking up positions. Some are moving to intercept the Corthan fleet, others are." He paused, surprised. "They're moving to defensive positions. Alongside our outer markers." The tactical display showed the unexpected realignment. The Zethran ships, along with several others, had placed themselves between Earth and the Corthan fleet. Not as aggressors, but as a buffer. Through her neural link, Dr. Sharma's voice came again. "Admiral, the communications we're intercepting, the other species are arguing with the Corthans. They're saying that if humanity had really destroyed all those ancient civilizations, we wouldn't have built such extensive defensive systems. That we show all the signs of a civilization that learned to survive, not one that learned to conquer." The Corthan ships advanced slowly, their weapons charging. But now they faced not just Earth's hidden defenses, but a line of alien vessels whose curiosity had turned to cautious support. "Last warning, War Master," Helena announced. "You're not just challenging Earth now. Look around you. The galaxy is watching, and for the first time, they're starting to understand." The command center fell silent as they waited for the Corthan response. The next few moments would determine whether humanity's first major diplomatic breakthrough would end in peaceful revelation or open war. In the tense quiet, Helena reflected on the irony of the situation. For thousands of years, humanity had survived by keeping its true history hidden, by meeting every alien approach with suspicion and strength. Now, paradoxically, it was that very history, finally being discovered, that might prevent another conflict. The Corthan ships held position, their weapons still hot. The line of alien vessels between them and Earth remained steady. And in command centers and archive chambers across the solar system, humanity watched and waited to see whether their long isolation would end in fire or understanding. High Ambassador Vexthor stood in the ancient ruins on Proxima b, his scales shifting between shades of deep blue as he studied the weathered carvings before him. The underground chamber, sealed for millennia, held secrets that changed everything he thought he knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. Ambassador, called Nyx, her tentacles moving gracefully over scanning equipment. The dating is confirmed. These records are over 15,000 years old. The walls told a story, not in words but in images, scenes of great battles among the stars. Ships that matched known Drukiri designs engaged in combat with primitive vessels that nonetheless held their own. But it was the final image that captured Vexthor's complete attention, a clear depiction of Earth, surrounded by defensive rings that looked remarkably similar to their current configuration. Cross-reference these readings with the data from the Arcturus archives, he instructed. His science team had spent weeks piecing together fragments of information from dozens of ancient sites across multiple star systems. Match confirmed, Nyx reported. The energy signatures in these ruins match both the ancient Drukiri technology and components we detected in Earth's current defense systems. They didn't just survive the Drukiri invasion, they adapted their technology. A message chimed through their communications network, an update from the diplomatic standoff in the Sol system. The Corthan fleet remained in position, but more species were joining the protective line between them and Earth. The galaxy was choosing sides in a conflict they were only beginning to understand. "Show me the temporal analysis," Vexthor requested. A holographic display sprang to life, showing a timeline of known alien activities in Earth's sector over the past 20,000 years. Patterns emerged that had been invisible before, waves of expansion by various species, all intersecting at Earth, all ending in mysterious defeat. It wasn't just the Drukiri, he realized aloud. Each time Earth was attacked, they didn't just survive, they grew stronger. Every piece of alien technology they salvaged, they studied, improved, and incorporated into their defenses. Through their diplomatic channels, reports continued to flow in. Other research teams across the galaxy were making similar discoveries. The Arcturus archives held records of a mighty empire that crumbled after failed attempts to conquer a primitive world. The crystalline data cores of the Proxians contained warnings about a planet that turned invaders' weapons against them. Ambassador, Nyx interrupted his thoughts. "We're receiving a transmission from the Human Command Center. They're offering to share something with us." The holographic display shifted to show Dr. Priya Sharma, her dark eyes intense even through the projection. "Ambassador Vexthor," she began, "we've been watching your investigation. Perhaps it's time we showed you the full truth." What followed was unprecedented, access to Earth's ancient records, carefully curated but undeniably authentic. Vexthor and his team watched in astonishment as humanity's true history unfolded before them. The First War, when Stone Age humans faced down a Drukiri invasion fleet. Against all odds, they had turned the invaders' own weapons against them, beginning a pattern that would repeat throughout their history. Each attempted invasion, each hostile first contact, had forced humanity to adapt and evolve at an unprecedented rate. "We never wanted to be warriors," Dr. Sharma explained. "We became defenders out of necessity. Every piece of advanced technology we possess was originally meant for our destruction. We learned to survive by understanding our enemies' weapons better than they did." The evidence was irrefutable. Humanity hadn't conquered their way to technological advancement, they had been forced into it, again and again, by species that saw their world as an easy target. Their current paranoia and defensive posture weren't signs of aggression, but the natural outcome of thousands of years of fighting for survival. "This changes everything," Vexthor said, his scales rippling with emotion. "The Korthans think you're hiding a history of conquest, but you've been hiding a history of survival." Through their neural link, Dr. Sharma nodded. "For millennia, we kept our history secret because we couldn't be sure who to trust. Every visitor from the stars had been a potential threat. But now—" She paused, and Vexthor understood. Now, for the first time, humanity was considering the possibility that not every species in the galaxy was a potential enemy. The protective line of alien ships between Earth and the Korthan fleet was proof that understanding could lead to alliance. "Ambassador," Dr. Sharma continued, "we're preparing to share these records with all species currently in our system. Including the Korthans. Will you help us? Will you help them understand?" Vexthor looked around the ancient chamber, at the story carved in stone of humanity's first steps toward becoming what they were today. Commander Jackson Reed stood in the newly constructed Galactic Embassy dome on Luna, watching Earth rise over the crater rim. The massive transparent structure, built in just 3 weeks using a combination of human and alien engineering, symbolized everything that had changed since the Korthan confrontation. "Quite a view, isn't it?" Ambassador Vexthor's scales shimmered with subtle patterns of gold and blue as he joined Reed at the observation window. "Though I imagine it looks different to you than it does to me." "It looks like home," Reed replied, his hand unconsciously touching the neural implant at his temple, technology derived from salvaged Drakiri systems. "A home we've defended for 15,000 years." The embassy chamber behind them buzzed with activity. Representatives from 23 alien species had gathered for the historic signing of the Soul Accords. Dr. Priya Sharma and her team had worked tirelessly with Vexthor to prepare the full presentation of Earth's history, leaving no doubt about humanity's true past. "The Korthan fleet is withdrawing," announced Admiral Reyes as she entered the chamber, her uniform bearing both Earth Defense Force insignia and the newly created symbol of the Galactic Coalition. "Their War Master sends an interesting message: they respect those who survive." The past month had transformed humanity's relationship with the galaxy. As the truth of Earth's history spread, other species began sharing their own records. A complex web of interconnected histories emerged, showing how humanity's defensive innovations had unknowingly shaped galactic development for millennia. The ancient records in the Proxima ruins weren't complete, Vexthor explained, turning to address the gathered representatives. "They showed humanity learning from Drakiri technology, but not why. Now we know, your people didn't just survive an invasion. You survived dozens of them, each time growing stronger, more innovative." Dr. Sharma stepped forward, activating a holographic display that filled the dome's center. It showed the evolution of Earth's defensive systems over thousands of years, each layer incorporating technology from different attempted invasions, refined and improved by human ingenuity. "We built walls because we had to," she said, her voice carrying across the chamber. "Each time we thought we were alone in the universe, new visitors arrived, rarely with peaceful intentions. We learned to survive by understanding the weapons used against us better than those who wielded them." The Arcturian ambassador, a being of living crystal, chimed in with harmonic tones. "Your defensive focus makes sense now. Each time you were attacked, you didn't seek revenge. You simply made sure it couldn't happen again." Reed nodded, remembering his first encounter with the Zethran ship. "For thousands of years, our protocol was simple: trust no one, reveal nothing, defend everything. It kept us alive, but it also kept us isolated." "And now?" asked Vexthor, his scales shifting to questioning patterns. "Now we have a choice," Admiral Reyes responded. "Continue hiding behind our walls, or help build something new. The technology we've developed, the lessons we've learned, they could benefit everyone." The holographic display shifted to show the proposed Galactic Defense Network, a collaborative system combining humanity's defensive expertise with the varied technologies and knowledge of other species. Earth's long-developed protection strategies would serve not just one world, but many. The Seoul Accords are more than just a peace treaty, Dr. Sharma explained. They're a commitment to share knowledge, to learn from each other. No species should have to face the stars alone, as we did for so long. The chamber grew quiet as the implications sank in. Humanity, long seen as mysteriously advanced and isolationist, was offering to share their defensive innovations with the galaxy. The very technologies they had developed to protect themselves would now help protect others. It won't be easy, Reed admitted, looking around the chamber. Trust doesn't come naturally to us, not after everything we've been through. But maybe that's exactly why we need to try. Vexthor moved to the center of the chamber, his scales now glowing with a bright, determined gold. When I first arrived in this system, I thought we were making first contact with a young species. Instead, we found teachers, survivors who can help us all create a safer galaxy. The signing ceremony began, each representative adding their mark to the historic document. As Reed watched, he reflected on the irony. Humanity's long isolation had forced them to become masters of defense and adaptation. Now, those same skills would help them forge connections across the stars. Commander, Dr. Sharma said quietly, joining him at the window. The ancient records archives are being expanded. For the first time in 15,000 years, we're adding entries about peaceful contact. Outside the dome, Earth continued its eternal rise over the lunar horizon. But now it rose not as a solitary fortress in a hostile galaxy, but as a world ready to share its hard-won wisdom. Humanity's long vigil hadn't just protected Earth, it had prepared them to help protect the galaxy. The cycle of isolation was finally breaking. And in its place, something new was beginning, a future where humanity's greatest strength wasn't just their ability to survive, but their willingness to help others do the same.